Marcus Whitfield stares at the departure board, watching his private jet slot disappear. His phone buzzes with angry investors. Then a small black girl with cornrows crashes into his legs, sobbing uncontrollably. Her dress is stained with something dark. She grabs his jacket with tiny, trembling hands. "Please, mister, please help me. My mom, she's not waking up. Nobody will listen." They keep walking away. Her eyes are wild with terror. Marcus looks past her toward the crowded terminal, not yet understanding that this moment will destroy and rebuild his entire world. Marcus hesitates for just a second, his thumb hovering over his phone screen where another urgent message flashes about the board meeting he's now missing. The little girl pulls at his sleeve with desperate strength that seems impossible for someone so small. Her voice cracks as she begs again. "Please, you have to come. Please." Something in her terror cuts through every other priority in his mind. He pockets his phone and lets her lead him through the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport terminal. They weave between travelers pulling luggage, past food courts, and charging stations. Marcus notices something disturbing. Other people see them. A woman in a business suit makes eye contact with the crying child, then deliberately turns away. A security guard glances their direction, notes the distressed black child pulling a white man in an expensive suit, and keeps walking. Marcus calls out, "Excuse me, we need help. Medical emergency." The guard doesn't even turn around. The girl pulls him faster now, her small hand gripping his with surprising force. They move past Gate C-43 into a quieter section where orange construction barriers indicate renovation work ahead. The crowds thin out here. The polished floors give way to older tile. That's when Marcus sees her. A black woman slumped against the wall near a maintenance corridor, her body tilted at an angle that looks wrong. Her eyes are half open but unfocused. A nurse's ID badge hangs crooked from a lanyard around her neck. The woman is wearing scrubs under a light jacket. Scattered around her are a small rolling suitcase, a child's backpack with cartoon characters, and a nearly empty water bottle. Marcus drops to his knees beside her, his $2,000 suit hitting the dusty floor. He reaches for her wrist, feeling for a pulse. It's there but weak and rapid. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Her eyelids flutter. The little girl collapses beside her mother, wrapping small arms around her. "Mommy, wake up. I brought help." Marcus pulls out his phone and dials 911, then looks up and shouts down the corridor. "Someone help us. Medical emergency. We need help now." A janitor appears from around the corner pushing a cleaning cart. The man is older, maybe 60, wearing airport maintenance coveralls. He sees the scene. His eyes meet Marcus's. For a moment, Marcus thinks he'll help. Instead, the janitor turns his cart around and walks the other direction. Marcus feels something cold settle in his chest. He shouts louder, waving his arms. "Help! We need paramedics." A gate agent walks past the entrance to this corridor. Marcus makes eye contact with her. "Please, call for medical assistance." The woman glances at the scene, at the black woman collapsed, at the crying child, at Marcus in his expensive clothes kneeling in the dirt. She keeps walking. Marcus can't believe what he's witnessing. He yells again, his voice echoing. "This woman needs help. Someone call 911. Finally, a first responder appears, walking slowly, clipboard in hand. He's a heavy-set white man in his 50s with a bored expression. What seems to be the problem? Marcus fights to keep his voice steady. "This woman has collapsed. She needs immediate medical attention." The responder looks down at Jasmine, then at Marcus, then at the child. "Is this your family?" "No, I just found them. Her daughter came and got me." The responder crouches down, but he's asking questions instead of checking vitals. "What's your relationship to this woman?" "I told you, I don't have one. Her child asked me for help." The responder's eyes narrow slightly. "Ma'am, can you tell me what happened? Do you know this man? Do you feel safe?" Marcus realizes with growing horror that the responder is treating this like a potential assault rather than a medical emergency. "She's unconscious. She can't answer your questions. We need paramedics now." The responder stands slowly. "Sir, I need you to calm down." Marcus's hands clench into fists. "I am calm." This woman has been lying here for who knows how long while people walked past her. She needs help right now. The responder finally pulls out a radio, but his movements are leisurely, unconcerned. Yeah, I need medical to Gate C, 47 area. Possible unconscious female. Non-urgent. Marcus snatches the radio from his hand. This is urgent. This woman is barely conscious and needs immediate medical care. The responder steps back, hand moving toward his belt. Sir, you need to return my equipment. Marcus throws the radio back at him. Then do your job. Call for real help. The responder's attitude shifts slightly when Marcus mentions he'll call his attorney. Suddenly the man is on the radio again, this time with more urgency in his voice. Minutes tick by. The little girl whispers to Marcus that her mother started feeling sick 30 minutes ago. She'd asked 3 different airport employees for help. All of them dismissed her. One told her to stop bothering adults. Another said her mother was probably just tired. A third walked away while she was still talking. Marcus feels rage building in his chest, a hot pressure behind his ribs. Paramedics finally arrive with a gurney. They're professional, efficient, asking relevant questions. One of them notices the nurse's ID badge. You're a nurse? Jasmine manages to nod slightly, her words slurred. Something's wrong. Water tasted funny. The paramedic picks up the water bottle carefully, sniffs it. We're taking her to Presbyterian Hospital. Marcus stands. I'm coming with you. The paramedic looks uncertain. Are you family? Marcus pulls out his wallet, extracts a black credit card. I'm paying for her care, whatever she needs. The paramedic's expression changes, recognizing the exclusive card. All right, you can ride with us. As they load Jasmine onto the gurney, Marcus looks back at the corridor where she'd collapsed. It's isolated, away from the main crowds. Someone had directed her here, away from help. The realization settles over him like ice water. The ambulance ride feels endless, despite being only 12 minutes. The paramedic keeps asking Marcus about his relationship to the patient, clearly confused by the situation. Marcus explains again and again. I found her. Her daughter asked me for help. The paramedic treating Jasmine is more focused on her vitals than the social dynamics. Blood pressure is low. Pulse is elevated. Pupils are slightly dilated. Ma'am, have you taken any medications today? Jasmine's words come out thick and slow. Just my morning vitamins. Nothing else. The little girl, Zoe, sits pressed against Marcus's side, still clutching her mother's hand. She's stopped crying, but her breathing is shaky. Marcus realizes no one has checked on the child's well-being at all. He puts a careful hand on her shoulder. You did the right thing getting help. Your mom is going to be okay. Zoe looks up at him with enormous dark eyes. Promise? Marcus thinks about making promises he can't keep, then decides this child needs hope more than carefully hedged statements. I promise we're going to do everything possible. Presbyterian Hospital's emergency room is chaos when they arrive. The waiting area is packed with people in various states of distress. The paramedics wheel Jasmine through the doors marked authorized personnel only. Marcus tries to follow. A security guard blocks his path. Family only beyond this point. I'm with her. Her daughter needs to stay with her mother. The guard is unmoved. Take a seat in the waiting area. Someone will update you. Marcus watches helplessly as Jasmine disappears behind double doors. Zoe starts crying again. He guides her to a chair in the waiting room. The seats are hard plastic, bolted to the floor. Around them, other patients wait. Marcus notices something that makes his stomach turn. The patients being called back are almost exclusively white. A white woman who arrived 10 minutes after them is already being taken to triage. An elderly white man who came in after that follows shortly. 30 minutes pass. Marcus approaches the desk 3 times. Each time he's told to wait, that someone will call them soon. He sees Jasmine through a gap in the doors. She's on a gurney in the hallway, still in the corridor, no one attending to her. 40 minutes. Marcus's patience breaks. He strides to the desk, his voice sharp enough to cut. That woman has been in your hallway for 40 minutes without treatment. I want to speak to whoever is in charge immediately. The receptionist barely looks up. "Sir, everyone here is waiting." Emergency rooms see patients by severity, not arrival time. That woman was drugged. She's a nurse. She needs treatment now. The receptionist's expression shifts to skepticism. "If you're not family, I can't discuss her case with you." Marcus slams his credit card on the counter. "I'm paying for her treatment, privately, whatever it costs. Get someone in authority out here now." The receptionist picks up a phone. Within minutes, a woman in a neat pantsuit appears. She's white, mid-50s, with the polished appearance of hospital administration. Her badge reads Patricia Holbrook, Patient Services Director, Mr. Whitfield. Marcus Whitfield. She recognizes the name. Her expression shifts subtly. "Mr. Whitfield, I understand you have concerns about one of our patients. That woman has been waiting in your hallway for nearly an hour. She was brought in by ambulance. She needs medical attention." Miss Holbrook pulls out a tablet, taps at it. "Let me check on her status." She walks through the doors. Marcus watches through the gap. Holbrook speaks to a nurse, glances at Jasmine, taps her tablet again. When she returns, her expression is different. Carefully neutral. "Mr. Whitfield, Mrs. Carter's insurance information is still being verified. That's why there's a delay." Marcus feels ice in his veins. "I told you, I'm paying privately. Run my card, whatever it costs." Holbrook's fingers move across her tablet. "I see. It appears Mrs. Carter has an outstanding balance with our facility from a previous visit. 2 years ago, $11,300. She defaulted on the payment plan." Marcus stares at her. "So you're letting her lie in a hallway because she owes you money?" "We're not letting her do anything, Mr. Whitfield. We're following standard procedures for patients with outstanding balances. The county hospital has an excellent emergency department." Marcus's voice drops to something dangerous and quiet. "That woman is a nurse. She was poisoned. Her daughter is 7 years old and terrified. If you don't get her into treatment in the next 5 minutes, I will have my attorneys file suit against this hospital, against you personally, and I will make sure every news outlet in Dallas knows you denied care to a drugged woman because of a billing dispute." Holbrook's professional mask cracks slightly. "Mr. Whitfield, threats aren't necessary. Let me verify your payment information." She taps at her tablet again, pauses, looks at him with new calculation. "You're the Marcus Whitfield. Whitfield Technologies." He says nothing. "Your foundation has donated to this hospital." Holbrook's tone changes completely. "Of course we'll provide Mrs. Carter with excellent care. Let me speak to our charge nurse immediately." Within 3 minutes, Jasmine is being wheeled into an actual treatment room. Dr. Chen, an Asian American physician who looks barely 30, examines her quickly and professionally. He orders blood work, a toxicology screen, IV fluids. Marcus watches through the window as nurses finally attend to her properly. He turns to find Zoe sitting alone in the corner of the waiting room, arms wrapped around herself, completely ignored by every staff member. He walks over and sits beside her. "Have you eaten today?" She shakes her head. "Are you hungry?" Another small shake, but her eyes betray her. Marcus flags down a passing nurse. "Excuse me, this child needs food and water." The nurse glances at Zoe, then at Marcus. "The cafeteria is on the 2nd floor." Marcus keeps his voice level. "This 7-year-old girl's mother is being treated for poisoning. Someone from this hospital should have checked on her well-being an hour ago. Can you please bring her something to eat and drink?" The nurse hesitates, then nods. "I'll see what I can do." Marcus sits back down next to Zoe. "Tell me about your mom." Zoe's voice is tiny. She's a nurse. She takes care of kids who are sick. "Were you going somewhere today?" "To Atlanta?" "For Auntie Michelle's wedding. We were so excited." Zoe's lower lip trembles. "Mommy saved money for so long for our tickets." Marcus feels something crack in his chest. Dr. Chen emerges from Jasmine's room. "Are you Mr. Whitfield?" "Yes." "How is she?" Dr. Chen's expression is grave. "We're still waiting on full toxicology results, but preliminary findings show evidence of rohypnol in her system. along with another sedative compound we're trying to identify. Someone drugged her. Deliberately. Yes, this wasn't accidental. Dr. Chen looks at Zoe, lowers his voice. Given the circumstances and the location where she was found, this may have been a planned assault. I've contacted the police. They're sending a detective. Marcus thinks about the airport corridor, the dismissed requests for help, the time Jasmine lost while people walked past. Someone didn't just drug her. They tried to make sure she wouldn't be found or helped. The nurse returns with a sandwich, apple juice, and cookies for Zoe. The child eats mechanically, her eyes fixed on her mother's door. Marcus pulls out his phone and makes 3 calls. His personal assistant, his head of security, his attorney. Within an hour, wheels are already in motion. His assistant is arranging secure accommodation. His security chief is accessing airport surveillance footage. His attorney is drafting preliminary legal documents. Patricia Holbrook returns, her demeanor now professionally concerned. Mr. Whitfield, I want to assure you that Mrs. Carter is receiving our absolute best care. Marcus looks at her until she shifts uncomfortably. 2 hours ago, you were ready to send her to county. Don't pretend this is about her well-being. It's about my money and my name. Holbrook opens her mouth, closes it. Marcus continues, his voice cold. But since we're here, let me be clear. Every aspect of her treatment will be documented. If there are any delays, any substandard care, any hint of discrimination, my attorneys will bury this hospital in litigation. Do we understand each other? We do, Mr. Whitfield. Good. Now I'd like to see her. Marcus enters Jasmine's room with Zoe. Jasmine is awake now, groggy but conscious. When she sees her daughter, tears spill down her cheeks. Baby, come here. Zoe climbs carefully onto the bed, burrowing into her mother's arms. Jasmine looks at Marcus over her daughter's head. Who are you? Marcus Whitfield. Your daughter came and got me at the airport. Thank you. Her voice is rough. Thank you for helping us. Marcus thinks about everything he's witnessed in the past few hours. The dismissed pleas for help, the delays, the billing dispute used as an excuse to withhold care. Don't thank me yet. We need to figure out who did this to you. Marcus steps out of Jasmine's hospital room to take a call from David Torres, his head of security and private investigator. David's voice is crisp and efficient. I've got preliminary access to airport security footage. What am I looking for? A black woman, early 30s, nurse's scrubs under a jacket with a 7-year-old daughter. They were near the food court area around 11:30 this morning. Track everything. Who she talked to, where she went, who approached her. David pauses. Marcus, getting this footage wasn't easy. Airport security wanted warrants. I had to pull some strings. Use whatever strings you need. This woman was drugged and left in an isolated corridor. Someone at that airport knew what they were doing. I'll have something within 2 hours. Marcus hangs up and finds his attorney, Rebecca Stein, walking toward him down the hospital corridor. She's a sharp-featured woman in her early 40s who's handled his corporate legal matters for a decade. Her expression tells him she's already 10 steps ahead. I've filed a police report on your behalf as a witness. Dallas PD is sending Detective James Morrison. He's good, doesn't play politics. What do we know so far? Marcus fills her in on everything. The airport incident, the delayed response, the hospital's initial refusal of care, the toxicology findings. Rebecca takes notes on her tablet, her expression growing darker. This is bad, Marcus. Really bad. Someone didn't just assault her. They created conditions where she wouldn't be helped. That takes planning. Familiarity with how systems fail black women. She's right. Marcus has been thinking the same thing. This wasn't random. Before they can discuss further, Detective Morrison arrives. He's a black man in his 50s, wearing a neat suit and an expression that's seen too much. His eyes are tired but sharp. Mr. Whitfield? Yes. Thank you for coming. Morrison shakes his hand. Miss Stein. Then he turns his attention to Jasmine's room. The victim is awake? She is. Jasmine Carter. Her daughter is with her. Morrison nods. I'll need to speak with her. But first, walk me through what you witnessed. Marcus recounts everything in detail. Morrison listens without interrupting, occasionally jotting notes. When Marcus finishes, Morrison is quiet for a moment. "Mr. Whitfield, I'm going to be straight with you. Cases like this are hard to prosecute. Even with evidence of drugging, proving who did it and their intent is difficult. The airport has thousands of people passing through. Unless we have clear footage of someone tampering with her belongings, the defense will argue it could have been anyone." Marcus leans forward. "What if I told you I have a private investigator pulling airport security footage right now?" Morrison's expression doesn't change. "I'd say that's resourceful. I'd also say, make sure that footage is obtained legally and shared with law enforcement properly, or it's inadmissible." Rebecca interjects. "Detective, my client is cooperating fully. Any evidence gathered will be provided to you through appropriate channels." "Good." Morrison enters Jasmine's room. Marcus and Rebecca watch through the window as he introduces himself. Zoe is sent out to sit with Marcus. The little girl is exhausted, her eyes red and puffy. Marcus finds himself wondering if anyone at this hospital has thought to have her checked over by a pediatrician. The stress alone could be harmful. He makes a mental note to ask. 20 minutes later, Morrison emerges. "Mrs. Carter has been very helpful. She's given me a detailed timeline of her day. She also identified a man who approached her at the airport." Morrison pulls out his phone, shows Marcus a screenshot of a paused security video. It's grainy, but clear enough. A white man in an expensive suit, late 40s, talking to Jasmine near a coffee kiosk. "Do you recognize this man?" Marcus studies the image. "No. Should I?" Morrison's expression is unreadable. Mrs. Carter says his name is Richard Beaumont. He's on the Texas State Medical Board. Marcus feels something click in his mind. Why would a medical board member approach her at an airport? "That's an excellent question, Mrs. Carter filed a discrimination complaint against her employer, a hospital where she works. The complaint goes before the medical board for review. Beaumont is on that board. Let me guess. He tried to make it go away." Morrison nods slowly. According to Mrs. Carter, Beaumont contacted her 3 weeks ago, offered her a settlement if she withdrew her complaint. $10,000. She refused, said she wanted a formal hearing. He approached her again today at the airport. Marcus's hands clench, and a few minutes later, she's drugged and collapsed in an isolated corridor. Morrison holds up a hand. "Let's not jump to conclusions, but yes, the timing is suspicious. We need that airport footage." David calls back an hour later. Marcus steps into a private consultation room to take it. "What do you have?" David's voice is tight. "Marcus, this is worse than we thought. I'm sending you files now. Check your secure email." Marcus opens his laptop. 3 video files appear. The first shows Jasmine and Zoe near the food court, checking their departure board. Jasmine looks healthy, animated, laughing at something Zoe says. Timestamp reads 11:23 a.m. The second video shows Jasmine at a coffee stand. She's holding her phone, distracted while she orders. Her purse and a shopping bag are on the counter beside her. A man approaches from her left side. Richard Beaumont. He speaks to her. Jasmine turns, and her body language immediately becomes defensive. Arms crossed, head shaking. Beaumont keeps talking, his posture aggressive. He hands her something, a business card maybe. She refuses to take it. He places it on the counter next to her belongings. The exchange lasts maybe 90 seconds. Beaumont walks away. Jasmine turns back to get her coffee. "Here's where it gets interesting," David says. "Watch what happens next." The barista hands Jasmine her coffee. Jasmine pays, picks up her items. But watch the bag. Marcus replays it, the shopping bag. When Jasmine picks it up, it catches on the edge of the counter. Tips slightly. A water bottle rolls out onto the floor. Jasmine doesn't notice. She's focused on balancing her coffee and gathering Zoe. A woman in a business suit walking past picks up the water bottle. Looks at it. Looks around. Then instead of calling out to Jasmine, she places it back in the bag. Marcus feels ice forming in his veins. Replay that part. David does. Marcus watches the woman's face. She's white, mid-40s, professional attire. When she picks up the water bottle, Her expression changes. Recognition? Calculation? Something. She glances in the direction Beaumont walked, then puts the bottle back. David continues. That woman? Her name is Lauren Hayes. She works for a law firm. The same law firm that represents the Texas Medical Board. Marcus closes his eyes. They set this up. It wasn't just Beaumont. They had backup. Someone to make sure she got the drugged water. Keep going. The third video shows Jasmine about 20 minutes later. She's walking with Zoe, heading toward their gate. She stumbles, puts a hand to her head. Zoe is looking up at her, concerned. Jasmine tries to keep walking. She asks someone for help. Marcus recognizes the gesture even without audio. The person she approaches, a white man in his 60s, literally takes a step back and walks away. Jasmine tries another person, an airport employee in uniform. The employee is a white woman, 40s, medical services badge visible. This must be Karen Donnelly. Marcus watches Jasmine trying to communicate. She's clearly in distress. Donnelly glances at Jasmine's nursing scrubs visible under her jacket, barely listens, points down a corridor, the maintenance corridor. Jasmine tries to say something else. Donnelly has already turned away to help a white passenger. Jasmine stumbles in the direction she was pointed. Zoe is holding her mother's arm now, trying to support her. They disappear into the corridor. 8 minutes pass before Zoe comes running back out, looking for help. Marcus watches her approach person after person. A businessman pulls away when she grabs his sleeve. A woman with children pushes a stroller around her without stopping. A security guard makes eye contact and keeps walking. It takes Zoe 11 minutes to find someone who will listen. Marcus. David's voice is grim. The medical board employee, Donnelly, had to have known this woman needed help. She had medical training. She saw someone in distress and sent them away from aid. That's not negligence. That's deliberate. Send everything to Detective Morrison. Copy Rebecca. David, find out everything you can about Richard Beaumont. Who he knows. What cases he's influenced. Any other complaints that mysteriously disappeared. I'm on it. Marcus returns to Morrison with the footage. The detective watches in silence, his expression hardening with each clip. When it finishes, he sits back. This is solid evidence of what happened. But proving conspiracy is another matter. These people were careful. The water bottle was in a public area. Anyone could have tampered with it. We need more. What about the woman who picked it up? Lauren Hayes. She works for Beaumont's lawyer. Morrison makes a note. That's good. That's a connection. But a defense attorney will say she picked up a dropped item and put it back. Without proof she knew it was drugged, it's circumstantial. Marcus feels frustration building. So what do we do? Morrison looks him in the eye. Mr. Whitfield, I appreciate what you're doing here. Most people wouldn't have stopped to help. Definitely wouldn't have stayed involved. But you need to understand something. People like Beaumont, they have power. Real power. Resources. Legal teams. They know how to make problems disappear. We can build a case, but it's going to take time. And Mrs. Carter is going to face pushback. Her credibility will be attacked. Her history examined. Every mistake she's ever made will be used against her. Are you prepared for that? Is she? Marcus thinks about Jasmine in that hospital bed. About Zoe's terrified face. About the way people walked past them like they were invisible. I'm prepared. Let's make sure she is too. He returns to Jasmine's room. Doctor. Chen is inside, reviewing test results. The toxicology report is complete. Rohypnol and lorazepam, both in significant doses. Whoever did this used enough to render her unconscious for hours. If she hadn't gotten treatment when she did, this could have been much worse. Jasmine looks at Marcus. The detective told me what you found. The videos. She's quiet for a moment. Mr. Whitfield, why are you doing this? You don't know me. Marcus sits down. Because what happened to you was evil. And because I can help. Not everyone can, but I can. So I should. Jasmine's eyes fill with tears. They're going to destroy me if I fight this. Beaumont has connections everywhere. I'll lose my job. Maybe my license. I have Zoe to think about. Marcus understands. He does. But he also knows what happens when people like Beaumont face no consequences. They do it again. Someone else becomes the victim. Jasmine, I can't make this decision for you, but I can promise you this. If you decide to fight, you won't fight alone. You'll have resources. Protection. The best attorneys. Whatever you need. Jasmine looks at her daughter, sleeping now in the chair beside the bed. I've spent my whole life being told to keep my head down, to not make trouble, to accept things as they are. She wipes her eyes. I'm so tired of being afraid. 18 hours after being admitted, Jasmine is medically cleared to leave the hospital. Dr. Chen wants her to rest for several days and attend follow-up appointments, but physically she's stable. Emotionally and psychologically, she's navigating a nightmare. Marcus has arranged for her and Zoe to stay in one of his company's corporate apartments, a secure building in downtown Dallas with 24-hour security. He's also assigned a private security detail, 2 former law enforcement officers who will ensure no one can approach or harass them. As they're preparing to leave, Detective Morrison returns with news. We've brought Richard Beaumont in for questioning. His attorney is with him. They're claiming he had a brief, friendly conversation with Mrs. Carter at the airport, nothing more. He says he was encouraging her to reconsider her complaint for her own benefit, trying to help her avoid the stress of a hearing. What about the drugging? Beaumont claims he has no knowledge of it, says it could have happened at any point during her time at the airport. He has an alibi for most of the morning, meetings with other board members. Morrison's expression is frustrated. And Lauren Hayes, the woman from the video? She's claiming she picked up a dropped water bottle and returned it. Says she didn't notice anything unusual about it and didn't recognize Beaumont. She just happened to be at the same airport at the same time? Morrison shrugs. It's a major hub. Defense will say coincidences happen. Marcus wants to put his fist through a wall, so they get away with it. Not necessarily. We're building a case. But Mr. Whitfield, you need to prepare Mrs. Carter for what's coming. This is going to get ugly. Marcus takes Jasmine and Zoe to the corporate apartment. It's a furnished 2-bedroom on the 30th floor with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Zoe is amazed, running from window to window. Mommy, look how high we are. Jasmine stands in the middle of the living room looking lost. Marcus shows her where everything is, how to contact security, the emergency numbers. Then he gives them space. He returns to his own penthouse across town, exhausted and wired simultaneously. His assistant has been fielding calls all day. The board of directors wants explanations. Investors are asking questions. Marcus has missed 2 crucial meetings. He doesn't care. Rebecca calls. Marcus, I need to talk to you about strategy. Jasmine's hearing with the medical board is in 6 days. Originally, it was supposed to be a quiet administrative review of her discrimination complaint. Now, it's going to be a circus. The media is already picking up the story. We need to control the narrative. How? We hold a press conference. You and Jasmine together. Tell the story publicly. Put pressure on the medical board to act. Won't that expose her to more attacks? Rebecca is quiet for a moment. Yes, it will. But staying silent means Beaumont controls the story. Right now he's telling anyone who'll listen that this is a disgruntled employee making false accusations. We need to get ahead of that. Marcus thinks about Jasmine's exhausted face, her fear. I'll talk to her. But Rebecca, I want you to prepare for the worst. These people are going to come after her. I know. That's why we need to come after them first. The next morning, Marcus meets with Jasmine at the apartment. Zoe is playing in her room with toys Marcus's assistant purchased, trying to maintain some normalcy for the child. Jasmine looks like she hasn't slept. Marcus lays out Rebecca's plan. A press conference, full transparency, putting the evidence public. Jasmine listens without expression. When he finishes, she speaks quietly. They're going to tear me apart. They're going to dig into my life, find every mistake I've ever made, every bad decision. They're going to question my character, my credibility, my motives. She looks at him. Are you ready for that? Am I? The question hangs between them. Marcus takes a breath. Jasmine, can I tell you something? 6 months ago, My company settled 3 discrimination lawsuits. I didn't even know about them until yesterday. My legal team handled them quietly, paid money, made people sign NDAs, made the problems disappear. Jasmine's eyes widened slightly. I built a company worth billions, employed thousands of people, prided myself on innovation and progress. And I had no idea that black employees were being pushed out, discriminated against, silenced, because I didn't look, because it was easier not to know. Jasmine is quiet. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm not a hero. I'm someone who benefited from the same system that hurt you. I'm trying to do the right thing now. But that doesn't erase my blindness, my complicity. If we do this press conference, they'll come after me too. My company's history will be examined. I'll lose business, maybe investors, maybe my position. Marcus meets her eyes. But I'm willing to lose those things. Because what happened to you should never happen to anyone. And if I stay silent to protect myself, I'm no better than Beaumont. Tears slipped down Jasmine's face. I never wanted any of this. I just wanted to do my job, to provide for my daughter, to be treated with basic respect. I know. That's exactly why this matters. Jasmine wipes her eyes, takes a shaky breath. Okay, let's do it. Let's fight. The press conference is scheduled for 2 days later at a downtown Dallas hotel. Marcus's PR team is nervous. His CFO is furious. His board of directors demands an emergency meeting. Marcus tells them all the same thing. This is happening. Deal with it. The morning of the press conference, Marcus can barely eat breakfast. Rebecca reviews talking points with him. Keep it factual. Don't speculate. Present the evidence. Announce the legal action. And Marcus? Try not to look like you're enjoying this. You're not the story. Jasmine is. The hotel conference room is packed with media. Cameras everywhere. Reporters from local news, national outlets, digital platforms. Marcus sees some faces he recognizes from business coverage. Others from investigative journalism. This is going to be everywhere. Jasmine sits beside him at the table, composed but pale. She's wearing a simple blue dress. Her nurse's badge pinned visibly to her collar. A statement. Marcus takes the podium first. He tells the story chronologically. His missed flight. Zoe's desperate plea for help. Finding Jasmine collapsed. The delayed response at the airport and hospital. The toxicology results. The security footage. He shows clips on the screen behind him. The videos David pulled from airport security. The audience watches in silence. When the clips end, Marcus continues. Richard Beaumont, a member of the Texas State Medical Board, approached Jasmine Carter at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport on the morning she was drugged. This was not their first interaction. Mr. Beaumont had previously attempted to convince Mrs. Carter to withdraw a discrimination complaint against her employer. When she refused, he approached her again. Hours later, she was incapacitated. Marcus announces that his foundation is funding a complete investigation, that he's pledging $1 million to a legal defense fund for medical professionals facing discrimination, that his lawyers are pursuing both civil and criminal action against everyone involved. Then Jasmine speaks. Her voice is steady despite her hands shaking. My name is Jasmine Carter. I'm a pediatric nurse. I've worked in healthcare for 8 years. I love my job. I love helping children heal. She describes her discrimination complaint. Being passed over for promotions despite qualifications. Being given the worst shifts. Having her competence questioned constantly while white colleagues with less experience advanced. I filed a complaint because I believed in the system. I thought if I documented everything, followed the rules, told the truth, justice would prevail. Instead, I was drugged and left to die in an airport corridor. Her voice breaks slightly. If my daughter hadn't found help, if Mr. his Whitfield hadn't stopped, I don't know if I'd be here. The room erupts with questions. Marcus and Jasmine answer what they can. Rebecca fields the legal questions. The coverage that evening is extensive. National news picks up the story. Social media explodes with hashtags. Support pours in from nurses, from Black women sharing similar experiences, from advocates and activists. But the backlash starts immediately too. Conservative pundits question Jasmine's story, suggest she's after money, claim she has an agenda. Some attack Marcus for white savior complex, for making himself part of the story. Right-wing media digs into Jasmine's background, finding a traffic ticket from 5 years ago, a credit card debt, a contentious divorce. They paint her as financially desperate, potentially dishonest. At midnight, Marcus receives an email. The sender is Leonard Strauss, attorney for Richard Beaumont and the Texas Medical Board. The subject line reads, "Reconsider your position." Marcus opens it. His screen fills with attachments, legal documents, the 3 discrimination lawsuits against his company, detailed accounts of complaints, settlements, NDAs, everything his legal team had buried. Strauss's email is professionally cold. "Mr. Whitfield, your recent actions have drawn attention to issues of discrimination and professional conduct. I thought you should be aware that your own organization has faced similar allegations. 3 separate cases in 5 years, all settled quietly, all involving Black employees, claiming systematic discrimination. Perhaps before you crusade for justice, you should examine your own house. These documents will be made public at 5 p.m. today unless you withdraw your support for Mrs. Carter and issue a public statement acknowledging that her accusations against Mr. Beaumont are unsubstantiated. You have 12 hours to decide. Choose wisely." Marcus stares at the screen. His hands are shaking. He calls Rebecca. It's the middle of the night, but she answers immediately. "They sent you the file." "Yes." She sounds tired. "Marcus, I advised those settlements. Standard practice. The legal costs of fighting discrimination suits are often higher than settling. We gave them money and made it go away. Just like Beaumont tried with Jasmine. Just like Beaumont tried with Jasmine. Silence on the line. Then Rebecca speaks quietly. "Yes." Marcus looks at the documents. Kevin Thompson, a software engineer, brilliant mind, passed over for promotion 3 times in favor of less qualified white colleagues, finally quit and sued. Settled for $200,000 and an NDA. Now works for a competitor. 2 women from marketing, Shanice Williams and Tamra Fields, both filed separate complaints about hostile work environment, comments about their hair, assumptions about their attitude. One supervisor was documented, calling Shanice articulate and surprisingly professional, as if that was a compliment. Both settled. Both left the company. Marcus feels physically ill. "I never saw these. The legal team handled them. You signed off on the settlements. I signed what my CFO put in front of me. He told me they were routine HR issues. I trusted him." Rebecca's voice is gentle but firm. "Marcus, you're the CEO. You're responsible. Whether you saw the details or not, it happened under your watch." She's right. He knows she's right. What do I do? What do you want to do? Marcus thinks about Jasmine, about Zoe, about Kevin and Shanice and Tamara, whose experiences he dismissed without even knowing their names. "I hold another press conference tomorrow afternoon. I tell the truth about my company. Then we finish what we started." Rebecca is quiet for a long moment. "That's going to destroy your reputation. Maybe. Or maybe it's the only way to save it." At 3 a.m., Jasmine calls. "Mr. Whitfield, I saw the leaked documents. Someone from Strauss's office posted them online. Marcus, you need to stop. This is destroying you." "I'm not worth this. Jasmine, listen to me carefully. You are worth this. Those employees my company hurt, they were worth better too. I failed them. I'm not going to fail you. But they're giving you a choice. Your reputation or mine. No. They're giving me a chance to finally do the right thing." There's a pause. Then Jasmine speaks, her voice thick with emotion. "No one has ever fought for me like this." Marcus thinks about privilege, about doors opened without asking, about the 1,000 invisible advantages he's never questioned. That's exactly the problem, and we're going to change it. The second press conference happens at 3 p.m. the next day. Marcus stands alone at the podium this time. He looks directly into the cameras and begins. My name is Marcus Whitfield. I'm the founder and CEO of Whitfield Technologies. Yesterday, I stood here and told you about injustice done to Jasmine Carter. Today, I need to tell you about injustice my company has done. He details each lawsuit. Names Kevin Thompson, Shanice Williams, and Tamara Fields. Explains how they were discriminated against. How his company settled quietly. How he signed off on NDAs without investigating the underlying complaints. I was told these were standard business practices. That settlements protect the company. That this is how things are done. I accepted that. I was wrong. The room is silent except for camera shutters. I built my company on innovation and disruption. But I failed to disrupt the most basic inequity, discrimination in my own organization. I was blind to it because I didn't experience it. Because it was easier to sign papers and move on than to confront uncomfortable truths. Marcus announces several immediate actions. He's voiding all NDAs related to discrimination complaints. Kevin, Shanice, and Tamara are free to tell their stories publicly if they choose. He's creating an independent oversight committee for all future discrimination complaints. He's donating $5 million to organizations fighting workplace discrimination. And he's personally reaching out to every former employee who was pushed out, offering to make amends. This isn't about reputation management. This isn't damage control. This is me acknowledging that I failed people who deserved better and committing to do better going forward. Questions explode from reporters. One stands out, Andrea Mills from the Dallas Business Journal. Mr. Dale, Whitfield, are you aware that Richard Beaumont sits on the board of Titanium Capital, your largest investor? Marcus feels the ground shift under him. What? Titanium Capital holds 30% of your company's equity. They're leading the consortium for your acquisition of MedTech AI, a deal worth $600 million. Richard Beaumont isn't just on their board. He's the chairman. He has veto power over major investments and acquisitions. Did you know this when you decided to publicly accuse him? Marcus looks at Rebecca in the wings. Her face has gone white. She's furiously typing on her phone. He turns back to the microphone. No, I didn't know. But it doesn't change anything. After the press conference, Rebecca confirms the nightmare. Beaumont has been on Titanium's board for 7 years. He pushed for their initial investment in Marcus's company 4 years ago. Marcus had met him once at a signing ceremony, shook his hand, never made the connection. The acquisition was supposed to close in 3 weeks. Final board vote next Friday. Beaumont's signature is required. If he votes no, the deal dies. Worse, Titanium could force a restructuring, potentially push Marcus out as CEO. Rebecca lays it out. Marcus, this is bad. Beaumont positioned himself to control your business years before you ever crossed him. This wasn't random. This was strategic. Marcus thinks about chess games, about long-term planning. Beaumont knew Jasmine filed her complaint months ago, knew she wouldn't back down easily. When he saw her at the airport, he saw an opportunity. Discredit her completely, make her look unstable. No one believes an addict. If Marcus hadn't intervened, Beaumont would have succeeded. Now Beaumont is using leverage he built years ago. Marcus's phone rings. Charles Ashford, managing partner at Titanium Capital. Mr. Whitfield, we need to discuss your recent activities. They schedule a meeting for tomorrow morning. That evening, Marcus sits with Jasmine and Zoe in the corporate apartment. He explains everything honestly. How deep the connections go. How Beaumont had positioned himself to control Marcus's company long before this started. Jasmine is quiet, processing. He knew. He positioned himself to destroy you if you ever threatened him. Marcus nods. The chess game becoming horrifyingly clear. Zoe looks up from her coloring book. Mr. Marcus, are you going to give up? Marcus looks at this 7-year-old child who grabbed his jacket in an airport, who believed in help when no one else did. No, sweetheart, I'm not giving up. Plans form through the night. David's investigation has continued. He's found patterns. Beaumont has served on 4 different medical boards over 12 years. Each has multiple discrimination complaints. Each has settlements, quietly resolved, accusers silenced. Pattern of behavior across years, protected by wealth and connections. Rebecca sees an angle. If we can prove Beaumont personally retaliated against a complainant, that's criminal, not just civil. The medical board would have to remove him. Titanium would have to distance themselves. They can't be associated with criminal activity. But we need Jasmine to testify. At the medical board hearing tomorrow, Jasmine's original discrimination complaint was supposed to be heard. Beaumont would have been voting on it. That's a clear conflict of interest. If she testifies about his retaliation, his attempt to silence her, his presence at the airport, the timing of her drugging, it's documented in an official proceeding. Marcus looks at Jasmine. I can't ask you to do this. You'd have to face him. In person. Tell everything publicly. Jasmine looks at Zoe, then back at Marcus. He drugged me. He left me to die in that corridor. Because I wouldn't be quiet. If I'm quiet now, he wins. I'll testify. The Texas Medical Board hearing room in Austin is formal and intimidating. 12 board members sit at an elevated bench. Beaumont is among them, composed and confident in an expensive suit. He's officially recused himself from voting, but remains present as an observer, his very presence a form of intimidation. Jasmine sits at the respondent table with Rebecca beside her. Marcus is in the gallery with David Torres and Detective Morrison. Media presence is restricted, but several reporters manage to get seats. This hearing is nominally about Jasmine's discrimination complaint against her hospital employer. It's really about power. The hearing begins with Jasmine presenting her case. She's meticulous, professional. She describes how she was passed over for the senior nurse position, despite having the highest performance ratings, most certifications, best patient outcomes. She presents documentation. Email chains showing she exceeded every metric. Peer reviews praising her clinical skills. Records proving the white colleague who got the promotion had 2 violations for medication errors. Board members listen with varying degrees of attention. Some appear sympathetic, others skeptical. One older white man keeps checking his watch. Jasmine continues. She describes the hostile environment that developed after she filed her complaint. Suddenly, her shift assignments changed to overnight weekends. Her vacation requests were denied. Colleagues stopped inviting her to team meetings. Rumors circulated that she was difficult, that she was playing the race card, that she had an attitude problem. Every interaction became fraught. Every minor mistake was documented, while white colleagues' errors were ignored. She presents more documentation. Written warnings she received for things others did routinely without consequence. Harrison Cole, Beaumont's attorney, begins his cross-examination. He's smooth, experienced, wearing an expression of paternal concern. Mrs. Carter, no one here doubts your dedication as a nurse. But isn't it possible you misunderstood some of these interactions? Workplaces can be stressful. Sometimes we perceive slights that weren't intended. Jasmine's voice is steady. I didn't misunderstand being told I was too aggressive for advocating for a patient. My white colleague used stronger language the same week and was called passionate. Cole nods as if considering this. But perception can be subjective. Your supervisors noted in your file that you sometimes had trouble accepting feedback. Is that fair? Jasmine doesn't flinch. My supervisors noted that after I filed my complaint. Before that, my reviews were exemplary. Cole moves on, asking about specific incidents, twisting context, planting seeds of doubt. Then he shifts to the airport incident. Mrs. Carter, you've made very serious accusations against Mr. Beaumont. You claim he drugged you. That's not just a civil matter. That's criminal. Do you have proof beyond the toxicology report showing drugs in your system? Could anyone else have accessed your belongings that day? The security footage is played on screens around the room. Cole pauses it at a crucial moment. Here, you set your bag down at the coffee stand. It's unattended for 43 seconds while you place your order. Anyone in that crowded airport could have tampered with it. Reasonable doubt spreads through the room, but Cole isn't finished. Mrs. Carter, I'd like to discuss your employment history in more detail. He produces documents, passes copies to the board. 2 years ago, in April, you accessed your hospital's medication dispensary. According to these records, you withdrew 200 milligrams of morphine and 10 milligrams of Ativan, controlled substances. Yet there's no corresponding patient chart documentation for these medications. Gasps ripple through the room. Jasmine's face goes white. Marcus grips his chair, knuckles white. That's not accurate. I can explain. Cole's voice remains gentle, reasonable. Did you or did you not dispense controlled substances without proper documentation? There was an emergency. A child came in coding. The doctor ordered the medications verbally. I administered them and documented everything in the system afterward. I know I did, yet there's no record. Cole spreads his hands as if this pains him. Perhaps you thought you documented it. Perhaps in the stress of the moment, you forgot. Or perhaps, Mrs. Carter, you have a history of substance misuse. Perhaps the Rohypnol found in your system at the airport was self-administered. Perhaps this entire accusation against Mr. Beaumont is an attempt to distract from your own problems. The room erupts in whispers. Board members are leaning together, talking. Beaumont looks satisfied, almost bored. Rebecca objects loudly, calling for recess. The board chairman grants 30 minutes. In the hallway, Jasmine is shaking. I documented those medications. I swear on my daughter's life. There was a code. Dr. Patterson ordered them verbally. I entered everything into the system that same shift. They're lying. Marcus pulls David aside. Can you access the hospital's system records? David's expression is grim. Not legally, but I know a forensic IT specialist who can look at deleted files. We have 30 minutes. Make it 20. David makes frantic calls. Marcus can hear him talking to someone named Chen, a digital forensics expert. Rebecca is objecting to the evidence admission, arguing it's irrelevant to the original complaint, that it's a character assassination. The board is considering. 19 minutes later, David runs back with his laptop. Marcus, look at this. The screen shows layers of hospital system data. The medication dispensary entry was documented. Jasmine did enter everything properly. But 3 weeks ago, the entry was deleted, not by Jasmine, by an administrative account belonging to Howard Simmons, the hospital's chief operating officer. David dug further. Simmons serves on 2 nonprofit medical boards. Both boards are chaired by Richard Beaumont. Simmons has received consulting payments from a company Beaumont owns, totaling $75,000 over 2 years. The evidence wasn't missing, it was destroyed. By someone with direct financial ties to Beaumont. The hearing reconvenes. Rebecca stands immediately. Your Honor, I request permission to present new evidence that directly contradicts the claims just made. Cole objects. This is highly irregular. Evidence should have been submitted prior to the hearing. Rebecca's voice is sharp. This evidence came to light only because of false accusations made during this proceeding. It's directly relevant to the credibility of the claims against Mrs. Carter. The board chairman, Dr. Elizabeth Moreno, considers. I'll allow it. The forensic report is projected on screens. Documentation of the deletion timestamp. The administrative account. The financial connections between Simmons and Beaumont. Rebecca walks the board through every detail. Mrs. Carter's records were deliberately destroyed. 3 weeks ago, by a hospital administrator with financial ties to the man she accused. This isn't a pattern of substance abuse. This is a pattern of retaliation. The room erupts. Board members demand explanations. Cole scrambles, claiming coincidence, suggesting the IT evidence could be fabricated. Detective Morrison stands from the gallery. I'm Detective James Morrison, Dallas Police Department. Based on this evidence, I'm opening a criminal investigation into Howard Simmons for tampering with medical records and potential evidence destruction. I'm also expanding our investigation into Richard Beaumont for witness intimidation and conspiracy. Beaumont finally speaks, his voice cold and controlled. This is absurd. I've served this board with distinction for 12 years. These accusations are baseless. Dr. Moreno cuts him off. Mr. Beaumont, you need to step down from this hearing immediately. Not as an observer. Leave the room entirely. We'll be conducting our own investigation into your conduct." Beaumont stands slowly, adjusting his cufflinks. He looks directly at Marcus. "This isn't over, Mr. Whitfield. You have no idea who you're dealing with." He walks out, but his presence seems to linger like smoke. The hearing continues without him. The board reviews all evidence with fresh eyes, looking at Jasmine with new understanding, sympathy, shame, recognition that they almost participated in destroying a woman who was telling the truth. Dr. Moreno addresses Jasmine directly. "Mrs. Carter, on behalf of this board, I apologize. We should have seen this for what it was. We'll be making our decision shortly." Days after the hearing, news breaks across Texas. The medical board has suspended Richard Beaumont pending a full investigation. Criminal charges are being filed against Howard Simmons for tampering with medical records and evidence destruction. Jasmine's discrimination complaint is being reheard with a new panel, without Beaumont's influence. Public opinion shifts dramatically. Social media rallies behind Jasmine. Nurses across the country share similar stories of discrimination, retaliation, systematic silencing. Marcus's company receives an outpouring of support alongside continued criticism. Kevin Thompson, the engineer from the previous lawsuit, reaches out. They meet at a quiet coffee shop in downtown Dallas. Kevin is cautious, professional, younger than Marcus expected. Mr. Point for 17. "Whitfield. Kevin, thank you for meeting me." Kevin sits, studies Marcus for a long moment. "I saw your press conference." "Both of them." Marcus nods. "I owe you an apology, a real one, not a corporate statement. What happened to you at my company was wrong. I should have known, should have been paying attention, should have created systems that prevented it. Instead, I signed papers that silenced you." Kevin's expression is unreadable. "You paid me $200,000 to go away." "That's a lot of money." "It is. Was it enough? Was any amount of money worth your dignity? Worth feeling like your talent didn't matter because of your skin color?" Kevin is quiet. Then he speaks. "No, it wasn't. I was brilliant at that job. I knew it. Everyone knew it. But I watched white guys with half my skills get promoted, get praise, get opportunities. And when I spoke up, I became the problem. The angry black man, the one who couldn't be a team player." Marcus listens without interrupting. Kevin continues. "I took your money because I had student loans, because I was exhausted from fighting, because the system wore me down until settling seemed like the only option. But every day since, I've wondered if I should have fought, if staying silent made it easier for you to hurt the next person. You're right, it did." Kevin looks at him directly. "So why are you doing this now? Why fight for this woman when you didn't fight for me?" Marcus considers the question carefully. "Because she forced me to see it. I met her daughter. Watched people walk past them like they were invisible. Saw the system fail them over and over. And I couldn't pretend anymore. Couldn't tell myself it wasn't my problem." He meets Kevin's eyes. "That's not a good answer. It means I needed to see it happening in front of me to care. It means all the times it happened out of my sight, I was content to ignore it. That's privilege. That's the problem." Kevin nods slowly. "At least you're honest." Marcus slides a paper across the table. "I'm voiding your NDA. You're free to tell your story. I'm also offering you your old position back, 2 levels higher than where you left, with full back pay for the promotions you should have gotten." Kevin picks up the paper, reads it, doesn't sign. "Mr. Whitfield, I appreciate this. I do. But I don't trust it yet. I have a good job now, a place where my work is valued. Maybe someday I'll believe your company has changed. But not today." Marcus understands. He extends his hand. Kevin shakes it. They part respectfully, but Marcus carries the weight of that conversation for days. Real change, he's learning, doesn't earn immediate forgiveness. It requires sustained action over time. Meanwhile, the acquisition deal hangs in the balance. Charles Ashford from Titanium Capital calls for the meeting he'd demanded. Marcus arrives at Titanium's offices in downtown Dallas with Rebecca. The conference room is sleek, modern, intimidating. Ashford is a silver-haired man in his 60s, sharp-eyed and calculating. Richard Beaumont is not present. Ashford begins without preamble. Mr. Whitfield, your recent activities have created significant complications. The board is concerned. Concerned about what? Your association with a board member who's facing criminal charges? Ashford's expression doesn't change. Concerned about your judgment, about your priorities. You've put your company at risk for personal crusade. This isn't a crusade. A woman was assaulted. I helped her. That's called being a decent human being. Ashford leans back. We invested in you because you were focused, driven, committed to growth. Now you're holding press conferences about discrimination, donating millions to causes, creating oversight committees. This affects the bottom line. Marcus feels anger building but keeps his voice level. If the bottom line requires ignoring assault and discrimination, maybe it's not worth protecting. We have a fiduciary duty to our investors. Do you have a moral duty to basic ethics? Or is that optional? The meeting goes in circles. Ashford makes veiled threats about the acquisition, about restructuring, about Marcus's position. Rebecca interjects with legal arguments about contracts and terms. Finally, Ashford shows his cards. Mr. Whitfield, the board will vote on your acquisition next week. Given recent events, the outcome is uncertain. However, if you were to issue a statement clarifying that your support for Mrs. Carter was personal, not corporate, if you were to step back from this situation, the vote might be more favorable. Marcus stands. Mr. Ashford, let me be very clear. I'm not abandoning Jasmine Carter. I'm not backing down. If your board votes against the acquisition because I helped a woman who was drugged and left to die, that says everything about Titanium's values and nothing about mine. He walks out. Rebecca follows, looking somewhere between proud and terrified. That night, Marcus sits alone in his penthouse, looking at financial projections. If the acquisition fails, his company takes a significant hit. Stock price will drop. Investors will panic. He might lose his position as CEO. Everything he's built for 15 years could crumble. His phone rings. Jasmine, Mr. Whitfield, I heard about the meeting with Titanium. Marcus, you can't lose everything because of me. I'm not losing it because of you. I'm losing it because I finally stood up for something that mattered. There's a long pause. Then Jasmine speaks quietly. The medical board is scheduling my final hearing for next week. The new panel, without Beaumont. My attorney thinks we'll win. That's good news, yes. But Marcus, I've been thinking, what if instead of just winning my case, we changed the whole system? What do you mean? Jasmine explains her idea. Instead of taking a settlement, what if she demands a position on Marcus's company's board of directors, not as charity, as oversight? Real power to examine discrimination complaints, to enforce change, to hold leadership accountable, and bring others. Kevin Thompson, the other settlement victims. People who understand the problem from experience. Form an actual accountability board. You don't fire your CFO for manipulating diversity numbers. You make him answer to us. You don't fake progress. You create systems that enforce real progress. Marcus sits forward, mind racing. Rebecca will see the brilliance immediately. It turns the crisis into transformation. Shows we're not just sorry, we're structurally changing. Jasmine continues. It puts me in the crosshairs permanently. Beaumont and people like him will come after me. But at least I'll have power to fight back, and maybe we prevent this from happening to someone else. Marcus thinks about risk, about courage, about a 7-year-old girl who believed he would help. Jasmine, this could work, but it means you're all in, completely. Your life becomes public. Every decision scrutinized. Her voice is steady. My life became public the moment Zoe ran to you in that airport. At least this way, I have agency. At least this way, I'm not just a victim. I'm a force for change. Marcus makes calls through the night, reaches Kevin, explains the concept. Kevin is skeptical at first. This isn't just a board seat we'd warm. We'd have real authority. Access to all HR data, compensation information, hiring practices, power to veto decisions, power to enforce accountability. Kevin thinks about it. If this is real, if it's not performative, I'm interested. Marcus calls Shanice Williams and Tamara Fields, the two women from marketing. Both are surprised to hear from him. Both are cautious. But when he explains the idea, something shifts. We'd be creating the oversight we wish had existed when we were there, preventing what happened to us from happening to others. By morning, they have agreements in principle. Marcus calls an emergency board meeting. His CFO, Stephen Garrett, is hostile. This is insane. You're giving outsiders authority over corporate decisions, not outsiders. People who experienced our failures firsthand. People who can ensure we don't repeat them. The board pushes back. Investors will hate this. Maybe. Or maybe they'll see innovation in governance. We'll be the first major tech company with a formal equity oversight board. That's leadership. Arguments continue for hours. Finally, Marcus plays his last card. I'm not asking for permission. I'm informing you of my decision. If the board wants to remove me as CEO over this, do it. But I'm not backing down. The room goes silent. Then his general counsel speaks. Marcus is right. If we do this correctly, it's not weakness, it's evolution, a model other companies will follow. The tide slowly shifts. Not everyone agrees, but enough support emerges. The announcement is scheduled. Marcus calls Jasmine. We're moving forward. Next week, we announce the creation of the Equity Oversight Board. You, Kevin, Shanice, Tamara, and one more member you'll all select together. Real power, real authority. Jasmine's voice breaks with emotion. Thank you. Marcus, thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when we've actually changed something. That week, the medical board concludes Jasmine's hearing. They find in her favor, unanimously. The hospital must reinstate her promotion offer with full back pay. They must pay damages. More importantly, policy changes are required across all Texas medical boards to prevent conflicts of interest and retaliation. Beaumont has resigned from all board positions. Criminal charges are proceeding. His reputation is destroyed. Howard Simmons is awaiting trial, likely to plead guilty. The system, for once, worked. The press conference announcing the Equity Oversight Board happens 3 days later. Marcus, Jasmine, Kevin, Shanice, and Tamara sit together at the table. Marcus explains the structure, the authority, the vision. This isn't symbolic. This is structural change. These 5 individuals will have real power to enforce equity in our company, to review complaints, to access data, to hold leadership accountable, including me, especially me. Media reaction is intense. Some praise it as innovative. Others call it performative. Investors are mixed, but the stock price holds steady. The message resonates. That evening, Marcus receives a call from Charles Ashford. Mr. Whitfield, the titanium board has voted. The acquisition is approved. Marcus almost drops his phone. After everything? Ashford's voice is different now, less hostile, almost respectful. After Beaumont's resignation, we had a long discussion about our own values, about what we want our investment portfolio to represent. Your equity board is unorthodox, but it's bold. It's the kind of innovation we should be supporting. Marcus hangs up feeling like the ground has shifted under his feet. Rebecca whoops with joy. David Torres cracks a rare smile. They've won. Not just one battle, but multiple. Jasmine calls. We did it. We actually did it. Yes, we did. There's a pause. Marcus, I need to tell you something. I should have told you months ago. What is it? Remember 3 years ago, you visited pediatric wings for your foundation? Hospital tours, taking photos, meeting sick children? Marcus remembers vaguely. He did dozens of those visits. Maybe? Zoe was a patient. She had bacterial meningitis. She was in the hospital for 3 weeks. You came through on one of your tours. Marcus's breath catches. Most people just smiled and moved on. But you stopped at Zoe's bed. You asked her name, asked what she liked. She told you she wanted to start a business selling friendship bracelets. You talked to her for 5 minutes. You gave her a book you'd written, signed it. Told her never let anyone tell her she couldn't achieve her dreams. Marcus feels something breaking open in his chest. I don't really remember. I know. That's exactly why it mattered. You weren't performing. You were just being kind. She kept that book on her nightstand for 3 years. Read it probably 50 times. When she saw you at the airport, Marcus, she recognized you. Immediately. She didn't run to a random stranger. She ran to someone she believed would help. Because you had once before, when you didn't have to. The weight of it crashes over Marcus. That moment he'd forgotten. That 5-minute conversation lost among hundreds had come back to save them all. 3 years earlier, he'd made a choice to see a sick child as a person. And that choice had echoed forward, creating this moment. Jasmine continues. I've thought about this so much, about fate and coincidence. You missed your flight that day. I was drugged. Zoe was terrified. But 3 years earlier, you made a choice to stop, to see my daughter. Not as a photo opportunity, but as a human being. Everything else followed from that. Marcus can barely speak. I didn't know. You couldn't have known. That's the thing about kindness. You plant seeds without knowing if they'll grow. The conversation ends. Marcus sits in his office. City lights spread below like stars. He thinks about connection. About the invisible threads linking moments across time. About how 5 minutes of genuine attention to a sick child had rebuilt his entire world. His assistant brings his schedule for tomorrow. Meeting with 3 companies interested in the equity board model. Congressional testimony on workplace discrimination legislation. Interview with a civil rights journal. Foundation event at another children's hospital. Marcus looks at his desk. Decides to add something. He asks his assistant to find a photo from that hospital visit 3 years ago. She locates it in his foundation's archives. Young Zoe in a hospital bed, tubes and monitors, holding a book and smiling at the camera. Marcus next to her, kneeling down to her level. He frames it. Places it on his desk, next to a recent photo of his new equity oversight board. 2 moments, 3 years apart. Connected by grace he hadn't earned but had somehow received. His phone buzzes. Text from Jasmine. Zoe wants to know if you'll come to her school career day. She's telling everyone her friend is a businessman who helps people. Marcus smiles, texts back. Absolutely. Tell her to save me a seat. He thinks about tomorrow and all the tomorrows after. The work ahead. The system still to change. The people still to convince. But tonight, he's grateful for a missed flight, for a terrified little girl who remembered kindness, for a mother brave enough to fight, for the unexpected grace of connection that transforms everything. 6 months pass. Marcus's company successfully completes the acquisition of MedTech AI. The Equity Oversight Board meets monthly, wielding real authority. Stephen Garrett, the CFO who manipulated diversity metrics, now reports directly to them. His first presentation to the board is humbling. Real numbers, real plans, real accountability. The culture is changing, slowly but authentically. Kevin Thompson still hasn't rejoined the company, but he consults occasionally, his trust growing incrementally with each genuine change he witnesses. Shanice Williams and Tamara Fields have become powerful voices in tech industry conversations about equity. They speak at conferences, write articles, shape policy. Jasmine completed her pediatric nursing certification and took the position at her hospital that she'd been denied. Her former supervisors are no longer there. The discrimination investigation led to multiple terminations and policy overhauls. She works 3 days a week and spends 2 days as a paid consultant for Marcus's equity board, reviewing healthcare-related complaints and policies. Zoe is thriving. She joined the gifted program at school and started that friendship bracelet business she'd dreamed about in her hospital bed. Sells them at local craft fairs with her mother's help. Saves the money in a college fund. The civil cases are progressing. Beaumont has settled multiple lawsuits, his wealth diminishing, his influence gone. Howard Simmons pleaded guilty to evidence tampering and served 8 months. The criminal case against Beaumont for assault is weaker without cooperation from Lauren Hayes, the lawyer who'd picked up the water bottle, but prosecutors are persistent, changes ripple outward. 3 other tech companies implemented equity oversight boards modeled on Marcus's. Texas passed legislation requiring medical boards to have independent review of discrimination complaints. Airport personnel received new training on recognizing medical emergencies and implicit bias. On a Tuesday morning, Marcus arrives at his office to find an envelope on his desk. Inside is a handwritten letter from Kevin Thompson. Mr. Whitfield, I've been watching what you've done over the past 6 months. Not just the announcements and press releases, but the actual work. The Equity Board has real power. Complaints are being taken seriously. Hiring practices have changed. I've talked to current employees. They say it feels different. Not perfect, but different. Real. I'm not ready to come back yet. Maybe I never will be. But I wanted you to know that what you're doing matters, that the work is worth it, and that I'm grateful someone finally listened. That someone was willing to risk something real to make change. Keep going, Kevin. Marcus reads it twice. Pins it to his bulletin board next to Zoe's hospital photo. These are his benchmarks now, not stock prices or acquisition deals. Trust earned back, one person at a time. The first official Equity Board meeting of the new quarter is today. All 5 members arrive, professional and prepared. Jasmine in a blue blazer, radiating quiet authority. Kevin is attending as an observer, considering a formal consulting role. They review hiring data from the past quarter, discuss 3 discrimination complaints that were filed, examine promotion decisions, challenge assumptions, ask hard questions. Marcus presents quarterly diversity metrics, but now they're audited independently. Real numbers, breakdowns by department, level, compensation. The gaps are still significant but improving. After the formal meeting, a smaller group gathers. Marcus, Jasmine, Rebecca, Kevin, and a few others. They're discussing expansion of the model. Several corporations have reached out, interested in similar structures. There's talk of creating a nonprofit to develop and share best practices. Jasmine has emerged as a national voice on workplace discrimination in healthcare. She's testified before state legislatures, been interviewed by national media, written articles that appear in major publications. Her case sparked legislative discussions across multiple states. Marcus watches her speak with confidence about systemic change, about policy recommendations, about the intersections of race and professional credibility. This woman who'd been left unconscious in an airport corridor now commands rooms full of powerful people. Rebecca mentions that the documentary filmmaker who'd been following their story wants to release it next month. It's called 5 Minutes, focusing on how a single brief interaction between Marcus and young Zoe had created cascading consequences. Marcus isn't sure how he feels about being the subject of a documentary, but Jasmine encouraged it. The story isn't about you being a hero. It's about how privilege and responsibility intersect, about how systems fail until someone with power decides they won't accept it anymore. That's important. The meeting winds down. People filter out. Marcus and Jasmine remain. They've developed an easy working relationship over these months. Respect and friendship forged in crisis. Jasmine pulls out her phone. I want to show you something. Remember that photo from the hospital visit? The one on your desk? Of course. She opens her photo library. Here's what you don't know. She shows him a wider shot of the same moment, taken by a hospital employee. In the photo, Marcus is kneeling by Zoe's bed, but you can see more context. Behind him, his assistant is checking her watch, clearly impatient. Other executives from his foundation are already at the door, ready to leave. They'd rushed through the entire visit, taking photos, shaking hands, performing charity. But Marcus had stopped. He'd seen this one child and paused, actually talked to her, listened to her dreams about friendship bracelets, made her feel seen. You almost didn't, Jasmine says quietly. Your assistant tried to move you along twice, but you stayed. 5 minutes that you forgot. That changed everything. Marcus looks at the photo, seeing it differently now, seeing his younger self, already successful but not yet aware. Operating on autopilot through another charitable obligation, one child's genuine humanity had broken through, had planted a seed that would grow into this moment. Jasmine continues. I think about this a lot. About chance and choice. You missed your flight that day. Random chance. I was drugged. Evil choice. Zoe remembered you. Grace. She looks at him directly. But the thing is, Marcus, you made that grace possible. 3 years earlier, without knowing, without expecting anything. You were kind. Marcus feels humbled. I was just being decent. That's exactly it. Decency. Basic human recognition. That's what the system denies people like me and Zoe every day. And when someone with power offers it freely, without agenda, it becomes revolutionary. They sit in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Jasmine says, the board approved something today. Before you arrived, we're giving you the Equity Oversight Board's first recognition award for leadership in systemic change. Marcus starts to protest. I don't need awards for doing the right thing. Jasmine cuts him off. This isn't for you. It's for other CEOs, other leaders. We're creating a model where recognizing progress is part of accountability. You're the first. You won't be the last. She hands him a folder. Inside is the award description, language about structural change, sustained commitment, willingness to risk power for principle. At the bottom, a note. This award is named the Zoe Carter Award for Transformative Leadership, because she's the one who started all of this. When a 7-year-old believed in help when no one else did, Marcus's eyes blur with tears. Jasmine, I don't deserve this. Maybe not. But you're going to accept it anyway. And you're going to keep deserving it every day going forward. That's how this works. Marcus thinks about Kevin's letter, about trust rebuilt slowly, about the daily work of living up to principles instead of just announcing them. He nods. Okay. But I want Zoe to present it. Jasmine laughs. She'd love that. Probably give a whole speech about how businesses should help people. That kid has opinions. Marcus smiles. Wonder where she gets that. From her mother, obviously. They share a moment of genuine warmth. The door opens. Zoe herself runs in, out of school for the day, supposed to be with a sitter, but somehow convinced the building security to let her up. Mr. Marcus. Zoe crashes into him with a hug. He's gotten used to this over the months. This child who grabbed his jacket in desperation now greets him with pure joy. Hey Zoe, how was school? Great. We're doing a unit on civil rights. I told everyone about my mom and you and how you fight discrimination. My teacher wants you to come speak. Marcus glances at Jasmine, who shrugs with a smile. He looks back at Zoe. I'd be honored, but I think your mom should come too. She's the one who fought the hardest. Zoe bounces excitedly. Both of you! We're learning about ordinary people who do extraordinary things. That's you! Marcus thinks about that description. Ordinary people. He'd spent years thinking of himself as exceptional, extraordinary by virtue of wealth and success. But maybe the real growth has been accepting that he's ordinary. Just a person who has to choose, every day, whether to see others as fully human, whether to use power for protection or for self-interest. Zoe pulls out a folder from her backpack. I made something for you. It's a drawing. Crayon and marker on construction paper. 3 figures. A tall man in a suit, a woman, a little girl. They're holding hands. Underneath in careful lettering, heroes help each other. Marcus feels his throat tighten. This is beautiful, Zoe. Can I keep it? Yes, I made it special, because you helped us. And now Mommy helps other people. And someday, I'm going to help people too. What kind of help do you want to give? Zoe's expression becomes very serious. I want to make sure kids who are scared can find someone who listens. Because sometimes grown-ups forget to pay attention. Marcus kneels down to her level, the way he had 3 years ago in that hospital. You're going to be amazing at that. I already know. Zoe hugs him again, then runs to her mother. Jasmine mouths thank you over her daughter's head. Marcus stands, Zoe's drawing in his hands. He thinks about framing it, putting it next to the hospital photo, creating a gallery of moments that built this unlikely family of allies and friends. His phone buzzes. Another company wants to discuss implementing an equity board, another interview request. Another legislative committee seeking testimony. The work continues, expanding, multiplying, one choice creating ripples that touch more lives. As he packs up for the evening, Marcus looks at his desk. Zoe's hospital photo. The equity board photo. Now this drawing. Heroes help each other. He thinks about that word, hero. He's not one. He's just someone who finally started paying attention, who stopped performing charity and started engaging in justice, who learned that privilege carries responsibility, and responsibility requires sacrifice. But maybe that's enough. Maybe that's what heroism actually looks like. Not grand gestures, but sustained choices. Not perfection, but consistent effort. Not acclaim, but accountability. His assistant pops her head in. "Mr. Whitfield, you have that children's hospital visit tomorrow. Same one as 3 years ago." Marcus nods. "I'll be there. And this time he'll pay attention to every child, every story, every dream. Because he's learned that 5 minutes can change the world, not because of who he is, but because of who he sees. The person in front of him, fully human, fully worthy, fully deserving of dignity and care." He leaves his office. The sun is setting over Dallas, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, more work, more opportunities to choose justice over comfort. But tonight, he's grateful for missed flights and found connections, for terrified children who believe in help, for mothers brave enough to fight, for the grace of second chances, for the truth that nothing is random, everything connects. And 5 minutes of genuine humanity can save not just a life, but a soul. The anniversary arrives quietly. 1 year since Marcus missed his flight. 1 year since Zoe grabbed his jacket in desperate hope. 1 year since everything changed. Marcus arrives at his office early to find an envelope on his desk. Inside is an invitation, hand-lettered by Zoe. "You are invited to my mom's wedding. Please come celebrate love and new beginnings." Marcus stares at it, surprised and delighted. He'd known Jasmine had been dating someone, Dr. Michael Chen, the emergency room physician who'd treated her that first night, but he hadn't known it had gotten this serious. His phone rings. "Jasmine, did you get the invitation?" "Just now." "Congratulations. Thank you. I wanted to tell you personally. Michael proposed last month. We're keeping it small, just family and close friends. But Marcus, you're family now, in all the ways that matter. The wedding is scheduled for next month." Marcus blocks out the date immediately. No board meeting, no investor call, no acquisition negotiation is more important than this. The weeks leading up to it are busy. Marcus testifies before Congress about implementing equity oversight boards in federal contracting. The legislation has bipartisan support, a rarity in the current climate. Jasmine's story, their partnership, the measurable results have captured attention across political divides. 3 more companies implement similar boards. The nonprofit they discussed is now operational, providing guidance and resources. Kevin Thompson has officially joined as a consultant, helping other companies learn from his experience. The model is replicating, spreading, creating accountability in organizations across industries. Marcus's company continues evolving. The latest diversity metrics show real progress, not just in hiring numbers, but in retention, promotion rates, pay equity. The gaps haven't closed entirely, but the trajectory is unmistakable. The work continues. Not because it's finished, but because it's ongoing. The wedding takes place on a Saturday afternoon in a small chapel outside Dallas. Sunlight streams through stained glass windows, painting everything in colors. Zoe is the flower girl, taking her role with utmost seriousness, scattering petals with precision. When Jasmine walks down the aisle, she's radiant. Michael waits at the altar with tears in his eyes. The ceremony is simple and beautiful. They exchange vows about partnership, about healing, about choosing love after trauma, about building new futures while honoring difficult pasts. During the reception, Zoe gives a speech. She's 8 now, confident and articulate. She talks about her mom being the bravest person she knows, about how sometimes bad things happen but good people help, about how Mr. Marcus taught her that heroes are real, and they come when you ask. Marcus finds himself fighting tears. After dinner, Jasmine pulls him aside. "There's someone I want you to meet." She introduces him to a young black woman, maybe mid-20s. "This is Aisha. She's a medical student. She read about my case and reached out." Aisha shakes Marcus's hand firmly. "Mr. Whitfield, Mrs. Carter inspired me to file a complaint about discrimination in my residency program. I'd been documenting incidents for months, but was too scared to report them, afraid of retaliation." "How did it go?" Aisha smiles. "The hospital implemented new oversight policies. The attending who'd been harassing multiple residents was removed. 3 other students came forward after I did. We formed a support group. Things are changing." Marcus realizes this is happening everywhere. Jasmine's courage multiplying, inspiring others to speak up, creating cascades of accountability. This is how systems change, not through single heroes, but through networks of people supporting each other, making it safer to tell the truth. Later, Marcus finds himself talking with Michael Chen, the doctor who'd treated Jasmine that first night in the emergency room. "I never properly thanked you for taking care of her." Michael shakes his head. "I was just doing my job, finally." After the hospital administration wasted an hour, he's quiet for a moment. "I've been an emergency physician for 12 years. I've seen the disparities, the way black patients get undertreated for pain, the way their symptoms are dismissed, the delays in care. I'd become numb to it, accepted it as how things were. What changed? You and Jasmine, watching you fight. Refused to accept it. I realized I'd been complicit through my silence. So I started documenting, speaking up, advocating. Got myself in trouble with administration a few times. But I couldn't stay silent anymore. Marcus understands. That's the gift Jasmine gave all of us. The refusal to accept injustice as inevitable." As the evening winds down, Marcus finds himself on a balcony overlooking gardens. Zoe joins him, climbing up to sit on the railing with his steadying hand. "This is a good day." Marcus agrees. "Your mom looks happy." She is. Michael is really nice. He listens to her, and he doesn't get scared when she talks about important stuff. "That's very mature of you to notice." Zoe shrugs. "I pay attention, just like you taught me." Marcus looks at her curiously. "When did I teach you that?" "At the hospital. When I was little and sick. You asked me questions, real questions, about what I liked and what I wanted to do. Most grown-ups just patted my head and talked to my mom, but you talked to me, like I was a person, not just a kid." Marcus feels the weight of that moment again. The 5 minutes he'd forgotten that had echoed through years. "That's because you are a person, an important one." Zoe nods seriously. "Everyone is important. That's what you showed me. That's why I knew to come get you at the airport. Because you see people." Marcus has to look away, overwhelmed. This child's clarity, her wisdom beyond her years, humbles him. Zoe continues. "Mr. Marcus, can I tell you something?" "Of course. I'm not scared anymore. Not like I used to be. Because now I know there are people who help. Not just you. Lots of people. Mom's friends. Dr. Michael. Miss Rebecca. Mr. Kevin. All the people who came because you asked them to. We're not alone. We're not alone." Marcus repeats it, realizing the truth. None of them are alone anymore. They've built something together. A network of people committed to seeing each other's humanity, to protecting each other, to fighting for each other. That's the real victory. Not the lawsuits won or the policies changed, though those matter. The real victory is connection, community, the knowledge that isolation is not inevitable. Jasmine and Michael appear, ready to leave for their honeymoon. Zoe is staying with her aunt, excited about a week of cousins and adventures. Goodbyes are exchanged, hugs and well wishes. As they're leaving, Jasmine catches Marcus's hand. "1 year ago I thought my life was over. My daughter and I were invisible, disposable. No one cared." He starts to respond, but she stops him. "Then you stopped. You saw us, and everything changed. Not just for me, but for so many others. This ripple we started, it's going to keep spreading." long after we're gone. Marcus thinks about legacy, about how it's not built in grand monuments but in moments of choice, in 5 minutes of attention, in refusal to look away, in sustained commitment to justice over comfort. Thank you, Jasmine, for trusting me, for fighting, for teaching me what courage actually looks like. She smiles. Thank you for stopping. They embrace. She leaves with her new husband, radiant with joy that seemed impossible a year ago. Marcus watches them drive away. Then he turns to see the guests mingling. Kevin Thompson talking animatedly with Aisha about medical school discrimination. Shanice Williams and Tamara Fields swapping stories with other young black women about navigating corporate environments. Rebecca networking with attorneys interested in discrimination cases. David Torres comparing notes with other investigators. All these people, brought together by crisis, now forming lasting bonds, building movements, creating change that will outlast any individual. Marcus's phone buzzes, a text from his assistant. Tomorrow's schedule includes a meeting with the governor about statewide equity oversight legislation, an interview with Time magazine about the first year of the Equity Board experiment, a site visit to the Children's Hospital where he'd met young Zoe 3 years ago, and a call from a Fortune 500 CEO who wants advice on implementing similar systems. The work continues, expanding, multiplying. He thinks about the question he's asked most often in interviews. What made you stop that day at the airport? He's given many answers. Compassion, responsibility, humanity. But the truest answer is simpler. A child asked for help, and somewhere deep in himself, past all the layers of wealth and privilege and self-importance, he'd remembered that help is what humans owe each other, that we're all connected, that no one is disposable, that 5 minutes of genuine attention can save a life, change a trajectory, start a movement. His phone rings again. It's another number he doesn't recognize. He almost doesn't answer, but something makes him. Hello? Mr. Whitfield? My name is Marcus Johnson. I'm a teacher in Houston. I read about what you did for Jasmine Carter, about the equity board you created. The teacher's voice is shaky with emotion. My son was discriminated against at his school. They pushed him into special education when he didn't need it. Ignored his test scores, assumed he couldn't learn because he's black. I've been fighting for 2 years. I'm exhausted. I don't know what to do anymore. Marcus listens. Then he says words that have become familiar over this year. You're not alone. Let me connect you with people who can help. He takes down information, promises follow-up, makes the connections that will start another chain of advocacy and accountability. After he hangs up, Marcus sits quietly. One call leads to another. One person helped leads to another person, empowered to seek help. The ripples continue. He thinks about returning to that children's hospital tomorrow, about being mindful this time, about seeing every child, every family, every person he encounters as fully human, fully worthy of attention and care, about understanding that he's not bestowing charity, but recognizing dignity that already exists. He pulls out his phone and looks at the photo that's been his screen background for months now. Zoe's crayon drawing. Heroes help each other. Simple truth from a child who'd experienced the worst and best of humanity. He thinks about the question he'll be asked in tomorrow's interviews. What do you want people to learn from your story? And he knows his answer, that none of us are heroes. We're just people choosing, in each moment, whether to stop or keep walking, whether to see or ignore, whether to help or turn away, that those choices matter, that they echo forward in ways we can't predict, that 5 minutes can change everything, that we're not alone unless we choose to be, that every person we pass is carrying a story we don't know, that privilege is a responsibility, not an entitlement, that justice requires sacrifice, that systems change when enough people refuse to accept injustice as inevitable, that grace exists in unexpected places, that connection is stronger than isolation, that love and courage can triumph over hatred and fear, but mostly that when a child grabs your jacket and begs for help, you stop, you listen, you act, because that's what humans do for each other. That's the world we build together, one choice at a time, One moment of genuine humanity creating ripples that spread farther than we can see. Marcus looks out over the gardens where Jasmine's wedding reception is winding down. The sun is setting, painting everything gold. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities to choose justice, new people who need help. But tonight, he's grateful for this moment, this community, this shared commitment to building a world where everyone is seen, everyone matters, everyone belongs. Where 5 minutes of attention is not extraordinary, but expected. Where help is not charity, but basic human obligation. Where we stop for each other, again and again, because that's who we choose to be. He stands, ready to rejoin the celebration, ready for tomorrow's work, ready to keep building this movement, one person, one choice, one act of genuine humanity at a time. The story doesn't end here. It multiplies. In every person inspired to speak up, every system reformed, every connection made, every moment of grace passed forward. This is not an ending. It's a beginning. And Marcus is finally, truly awake to his role in it, not as a hero, not as a savior, but as a person among people, committed to seeing each other, helping each other, building together. The evening star appears in the darkening sky. Marcus smiles, thinking of Zoe's favorite saying, one she'd made up herself. The world gets better when we choose better. Simple, true, the foundation of everything. He walks back inside to celebrate love, new beginnings, and the ongoing work of becoming the world we want to live in. Now, let me ask you something important. Have you ever had a moment where someone's act of kindness, no matter how small, changed your life's direction? Or maybe you've been that person for someone else, without even realizing it. In a world that often moves too fast, when was the last time you truly stopped to see someone who needed help? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else to pay attention, to stop, to help. And if this story touched your heart, please hit that like button, subscribe to stay connected with more powerful stories that matter, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that we're all in this together. That kindness creates ripples we can't always see. That 5 minutes can change everything. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for being part of a community that believes in the power of human connection. Until next time, remember, we're not alone unless we choose to be. Keep choosing to see each other. Keep choosing to help. Keep choosing love over fear. The world gets better when we choose better.